All right, so another way to look at Bereshit, first word of the Bible, is Bet Resh, sun. The Bet Resh, it stands for sun. We went over that. And then Aleph for the strength and the head of the house. Okay, and so this Resh, Aleph, Shin, if you put that together, it says Rosh. And Rosh means head. So the sun with his head. And then if you take Shin, Yod, Tav, that spells a word that means thorns. So it says the sun with his head and the thorns. What does that remind us of? Uh, Jesus Christ, who wore the crown of thorns, Son of God, all in the first word of the Bible. It's hidden right there. And it also reminds us of Abraham taking Isaac up to sacrifice him, and God stopped Abraham from actually going through with the sacrifice of Isaac. And he said he would provide the sacrifice, and then appeared a ram with his horns stuck in the thicket. So there's another picture of the sun with his head in the thorns. Beautiful picture of what the Lord has done for us. All right, so we also have this one. It says Bar, B-R, Son of God. We did that one. God's letter, Aleph. And then Shin, Yod is how you spell gift. Just those two letters. And then Tav is the cross. So Son of God's gift is the cross. All in the first word of the Bible. Bam. Another way to look at Bereshit. Okay, God keeps giving us good ones. So the next one is Bar, sun. You know that one. And then the rest of the letters, if you use the resh again, it'd be resh, Aleph, shin, yod, tav. That spells reshit, and that means first fruits. So the sun or the kernel, because Yeshua Jesus is the bread of life. So the kernel goes into the ground and it doesn't die, actually produces fruit, and he's the first resurrection. And then all the other believers, when he comes again, will rise with him, and we'll also be first fruits, but he's the very first fruit. So there's a nice picture of that in the first word of the Bible. It says that the sun is like the kernel. It goes into the ground, and it's the first fruit. Like that. All right, so this one's really good too. So if you have bar, the first two letters, sun, and then Aleph and Shin spell a word Aish, which means fire in Hebrew, and in English we've changed that to ash. When we have fire, we have ash. Where there's ash, there's fire, right? So strong destruction is what the symbols of Aleph and Shin. They stand for strong destruction. What's strong destruction? It's fire. It destroys everything. And then we have the Yod Tav. So we have, when you have BR and IT, that spells Brit, and that means covenant, testament, or agreement. And it's split in two here with the fire down the middle. When God came to Abraham, he told Abraham to go get some stuff to sacrifice, and they cut all the animals in half, put half of the animals on this side, half on that side. God put Abraham in a deep sleep, and then as a furnace of fire, he walked in between the burnt offering there and he made the agreement and the promise that he can't break because he cannot lie. So there we have it. We have our Brit, and the Brit Hadishah, our New Testament, New Covenant, our new agreement, and there's God, the strong destruction, the fire walking between, making a promise to us, God's people. Another beautiful, just in the first word in the Bible, we just found all those things. So when I saw that, I got really excited, and I wanted to share that with you guys. And there's some other ones, and they're all really good. But oh yeah, so the first three letters, Bet Resh, Aleph, it's the Son, the Spirit, and the Father, because the Rosh is the Spirit of God, is the Holy Spirit. Oh yeah, and there's another one. All right, this one. Oh yeah. Um. All right, so what was? The first four letters, BRASH, Rosh, and that means tree. It might have been a cypress or a pine. So it shows the hand on the cross, the tree. Um, so all in the first word of the Bible, it's saying, just like Eve started a problem by putting her hand in a tree, Jesus comes and restores mankind's relationship with God the Father by putting his hand on the tree, on the cross. So I love that too. And that's just in Bereshit, the first word of the Bible, which means in beginning. They didn't have the, so in beginning. And we find all those deep meanings. All right. All right. All right. All right. We also have the name Yahweh, which is a Yod He Vav He, and the symbols for Yod is a hand, and then for He is a nail. So it's the hand and the nail. I forget what it's called is. I'll have to do that one again. Yod He Vav He. So let's see. Oh yeah. In the first word, it also has the Aleph and the Tav, which is the first and the last letter. In the Greek, Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. So we know about that. And it's also the only other verse in the Bible. Genesis 1:1 is also the only other verse that starts with in the beginning, except for John 1:1, where it says, and in the beginning, the Word was God. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. And everything that was created was, I'll have to read it out of the Bible. I'll read that one again in a minute. Yes. the symbol for Tav is 2 cross sticks to make the cross, and the God's letter, the ox head, the strength of the house, the Aleph, it has the ox head. So if you put the ox head on 2 cross sticks, what are you doing? You're making a burnt offering. Wow. All right. Hey, baby. All right. All right. So Genesis 15, 1 through 3. After this, the word of the Lord came to Abraham, or to Abram at that time, in a vision. Don't be afraid, Abram. I am your shield and your very great reward. But Abram said, O sovereign Lord, what can you give me since I remain childless, and the one who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus? And Abraham said, You have given me no children, so a servant in my household will be my heir. Eliezer, every time it says El, that means God. El stands for God in the Hebrew language, and Eliezer is helper. So Eliezer means God's helper, and that's Abram's servant. His name is God's helper. So Genesis 17:5, no longer shall your name be called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham, for I have made you the father of a multitude of nations. Abraham was growing older with no heir, only a servant to leave all his inheritance to. And God promises Abraham and Sarah a child, and there's a lot of prophetic things happening here. First, there's a Christ-like prophesied birth for Isaac. Just like with Yeshua, it was prophesied before birth. Just like Yeshua, Isaac and Yeshua both have miracle births, right? Because Sarah's too old to bear a child, and so is Abraham. They're 90 and 100, and so they miraculously have this birth and this child, because God can do anything. And then Jesus, Mary has the Holy Spirit come upon her with a miracle birth. So there's a parallel there between Isaac and Yeshua Jesus. All right, Abraham laughed at God's promised son, so God had him name his son, He will laugh. And we say Isaac, but it sounded more like Isaac. When God formed all life, He had 2 hands involved. It shows okay. There is a prophesied son, Yeshua, and the Jews laugh and say, He isn't the Messiah, just like when Abraham laughed in Genesis 22.
In Hebrew, Akedah means the binding, and the binding of Isaac. God tells Abraham to take his son, his only son that he loves, and this is the first use of the word love in the Bible. So, take your only son, whom you love, the Lord your God. All right. Isaac was Abraham's only son. He had another with a maidservant, but only one promised son from his wife, whom he loved, his prophesied child of promise, Isaac or Yitzhak. John 3:16 said, God so loved the world that he gave his only son. God told Abraham, take Isaac, your only son that you love, to the mountain that he would show him, Mount Moriah. God told him to take Isaac and sacrifice him, and he got up early in the morning and did not hesitate. And if you have faith, you do not hesitate. Yeah.
Are you done?